Okay, today I'm just going to run through real quick how to diagnose and troubleshoot and possibly fix your four-wheel drive on your Chevy Blazer, your GMC Jimmy, your S10. Many of the GMCs have either the same or similar setup. So we're going to start by taking out the battery. I probably won't show you how to do that. 5/16 here on the terminals, and you've got a 1/2 inch nut down there. You need a little bit of length, so you need an extension. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this battery out, and I'll fire the camera back up in a minute. Okay, you can see I have the battery out, and next I need to get the battery tray out. There's a bolt down there, 1/2 inch, and another one there. And I'll just wind those out real quick. Some of you may not realize that on these Blazers and on the Jimmys, the hubs are always locked in. That's why you don't hear people having hub issues on these. When you kick it into four-wheel drive, the transfer case actually sends vacuum to this actuator, and then the actuator pulls a cable which engages the front differential. And there are a couple of things that can go wrong here, and we'll take a look. I can show you how to diagnose, possibly where the issues are. I mean, there are issues with the computers and apparently corrosion issues on these as well. But I always try to opt for the simple solution before I look at the expensive solutions. So I'm just going to set the camera down while I haul this battery tray out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so there's the beast we're looking for. Basically, as I said, when you kick this into four-wheel drive, computer engages the transfer case. There's a motor on the transfer case, and then there's a valve, and I can show you that valve. That could be problematic as well. I've changed mine out, but there are other issues that could be, you could have a vacuum leak. This diaphragm here can dry rot. This cable can actually seize up. So you want to check to make sure that you've got some play there. So what I'm going to do, and you can do this as well. It's not that difficult. You'll hear people in the forums complain about it, but I'm just going to drop the battery back in. I'm not going to bolt it in. I'm going to attach the terminals, and then I'm going to take the battery out, have the vehicle running. I'll try to set the camera up and kick it in so you can see how this actually should work when it's working properly. All right. Okay, just a couple words of caution. Obviously, if you're using a light, make sure it stays clear of the fan. Keep your hands and everything else away from the fan. When I moved the container I was using to hold all my bolts and so forth, keep your ratchets and so forth all away from the fan. Another thing I like to do when I do this type of thing is I take a leather glove and I stick it over the positive terminal. You don't want that to ground out on anything. Sometimes I do it on the negative as well, but the negative is safe there. There's no solenoids near it or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hop in the vehicle and engage that. And hopefully you'll be able to see how that actuator should work. Alright, I'll be right back. Let's give it a shot here. Okay, so obviously I wasn't here to see that, but hopefully you can see how that pulled the cable. The cable moved freely and engaged the front differential. So I'm just going to go and put it back into two-wheel drive. You'll see how that should release, and I'll shut the vehicle off so you can actually hear me. Okay. You can see it's returned to the normal position. So my four-wheel drive is actually working, but I have had problems with it, as many people do with these vehicles. So, all right, so where do you go from here? If yours is not pulling like that, you could have a vacuum leak in your vacuum line. So that could be easy to check. You can pull this off, put a vacuum gauge on it. Even as simple as pulling off the vacuum line and putting your finger on it and having somebody engage that. If you do have vacuum and this is not engaging, you can check for you should be able to pull that cable. You can see I'm just pulling that with my fingers. I'm not pulling it all the way to engage it. I just want to see that the cable is moving freely, and it is. So check that out on yours. Now back to the idea if you're not getting vacuum to this actuator. So there are, like I said, so you've got the cable, you've got the vacuum lines, and you've got this, which is this is a valve that is mounted on the transfer case. I think it costs in the area of $15. You can buy, it's one of those, you'll see them hanging on those help displays. You know, they have all these help packages, these emergency help packages like at VIP and so forth. And basically what happens is when you engage the transfer case, this sends vacuum to this actuator. So if this is bad, you're not going to get vacuum. So this is a relatively inexpensive part to try if you're not getting vacuum to your actuator, or if you're not getting full vacuum. Maybe you're getting some vacuum, but not enough. So those are a couple of things to try. And just incidentally, too, they do sell aftermarket kits where you can actually take this whole vacuum system out and you can run a cable directly to the driver's side. And in the forums, you'll even see a bunch of how-tos on how people have gone and taken their own cable that they buy in Napa and so forth, and they just create a manual engagement system for the front differential on these Blazers. I like to have it right, so I fix mine correctly. So hopefully this has been helpful. Don't spend a lot of money. Don't take it to somebody and have them tell you it needs a computer or it needs a transfer case until you've gone through these steps first to make sure that it's not something as simple as this, this $15 valve or possibly this cable. And you can disconnect this cable at the other end and actually try to free it up. I mean, what I did when I first did this is I greased this up at this end and then I worked it back and forth to make sure that it was, smooth, moving smoothly. So, all right, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below.